Let's talk about buyers, interest rates in your business. Contrary to headlines and what you may see in the news, business sales are not as impacted by interest rates as residential real estate, for example, right? And I'll tell you why. The first thing I'd say is that to any owner is if you think about it from a buyer's perspective, a buyer probably shouldn't be buying a $4 million business if the consideration, if the yes/no decision comes down to a $2,000 difference in their monthly interest payment on an SBA or commercial loan, right? Like that's just a fact. And as a broker and M&A advisor, that is a red flag to me, right? When I'm screening buyers and I meet someone who's that sensitive on moving forward with a deal or not. So that's the first thing. Second thing I would say is that there's 3 types of buyers, okay? Only our first buyer type is significantly or our interest rates more of a consideration, right? And so this first type, this is the stereotypical owner-operator. This is someone looking to buy a business for an income, right, for them and their family. Perhaps they're ex-corporate America, whatever it may be, okay? And they're most likely going to need financing depending on the size of the transaction. Okay. The second type of buyer, and I spend a lot of time with this type of buyer, these are other companies. And so, for example, I have a tree service, right, in Washington. Who have I spoken to about that? Tree services in Oregon and Idaho that are looking to expand here, right, and trying to eye the right opportunity because they know the equipment is expensive and things like that. It's a way for them to back into reputation. That business, like examples there of other tree services, I've asked for proof of funds and seen $1 million, $2 million in their business checking accounts, right? They are less sensitive to interest rates. And then the third type, I also spend a lot of time talking to this group. These are private equity groups. These are family offices, and these are strategic buyers or strategic capital. They also are less interest rate sensitive, right? When you think about those 3 buckets. I sold a business this year to a group that is buying upwards of 80 businesses this year alone. Their run rate is to get to 100 plus transactions a year. It's an all cash transaction for them. Financing is not a consideration, right? So just, again, like keep in mind those points if you're reading about interest rates and wondering how that impacts you. The final thing I would say about interest rates is remember, we're not selling Twitter here, right? Your business isn't Twitter. It's not being transacted at a multiple of 6x revenue, right? The valuations for small to medium businesses in America are much lower, right? Much more reasonable. They're typically 2.0, 2 to 4 times your trailing 12-month cash flow, okay? And so that multiple compresses much, much less, right, than a Twitter that you read about in the Wall Street Journal headlines. I'm Ryan Hemmert at Washington Business Brokers. Check out our website for more resources and answers to common questions.